The Holy Spirit moves at ground level. I think the way that we recognize it is through a feeling. I think it's when we put away some of the old ideas and start to really think creatively. It's letting go of some of the old ways of thinking. New thoughts, new ideas. We're listening.
I mean, we ended up doing so much cleaning when we first got here. The church had been struggling for such a long time, so there just weren't a lot of people around. It's like, well, who's gonna oversee the clean out of stuff and who's sort of tracking what's coming in and what's going out?
This was Clutter Central. This was the one there were tables like everywhere, books and things that just needed to go.
And then like our kids ministry has grown, just more babies being born and kids. So we turned this room into, it's basically, this is sort of like the nursery children's ministry room.
And so, the youth group sometimes meets here, mostly nursery right now, Yeah.
And then when we came back from the pandemic, so this store is like,
it's a 2-person job. Come on, Christine. We can do it. There it is.
So we were like, okay, we don't have money to make like a beautiful new wood floor, but let's just get some inexpensive tile and like at least make it clean. I would say too, the other thing that we found in our process of decluttering is we found some real treasures. So for example, this photograph is actually a very famous photograph of St. Peter's building from back in the day, but it was in like this like gross broken frame, and so we pulled it out and kind of cleaned it off and then got it reframed. So to really like highlight the beauty of it. When we first came, it's not like we had this grand plan, like this is how we're going to revitalize St. Peter's.
There has been no plan, no grand plan. There is a one day at a time, discerning, seeking God in the Spirit, trusting, listening.
So it felt like this year when we were finally like, all right, let's actually think about the future. We're not just like in the present crisis, but now we can like, let's think about the future. And so we decided to do what we called a body scan, a meditative body
scan, where you check in with yourself,
And so we had us and our vestry members create like one-on-one interviews with people.
So they were brief, maybe 15 minute, 20 minute interviews.
Like, what are you longing for? And, what would you hope to see at St. Peter's? And then it feels like that's the space for like, all right, now let's do some imagining of the future. So we're kind of in the middle of that.
And we're in the middle of that right now.
In terms of, where we need room to grow. So people were saying they felt like meeting new people was hard, which I think is, it is hard.
I think it's true, It's not the easiest thing. Coffee hour is not necessarily the easy place to meet.
One big one was creating a space of spaciousness for people to come as they are, where they are, and commitment, calling people to greater commitment and participation and ownership of the ministry. So like just holding that tension for the community. But this one I thought was interesting was changing the narrative from survival to thriving.
People named that as something that we should shift. We've grown and learned, and we should stand up on these new legs.
Did you talk about the stainless window?
No, I did not.
I think you should.
You think we should? Okay, we should bring that up. I think we talk about stewarding our buildings, and when we go into the sanctuary, you'll see there's a big clear glass now space where a stained glass window was. And I guess the conversation is what is truly affirming, what is welcoming. And when we talk about sacred art, sacred imagery, when we only present Jesus as the pasty white paper Jesus, how does that speak to the people who are walking into the space? And just trying to think about how we'd spend money and what do we want to say. And so we're not at a stalemate, because I think we all feel like, well, what will we do with this window?
You can come in here. Let me open this up. This is a sacristy.
Sweet little sacristy.
And again, this used to be a storage.
This is what the carpet was like in the directory.
Yeah. Well, let's go on this way.
Yeah.
Just make sure you
duck your head.
Here's the window.
This is the window I was telling you about.
Stained glass window.
Yeah.
So behind the view that you have is through this window is a construction project, which on one hand may not be the most beautiful view, but I kind of like it because it's this idea of like something being built, something being created.
Right.
And it's like work in progress. So I don't know that we necessarily have like a clear picture of like, this is what St. Peter's is going to look like 5 years from now. It's hard to think about the future if the body itself needs some work in terms of just being connected to each other. So it's like, all right, let's like try to strengthen the body. And as we do that, really listen to, okay, God, where are you calling us? And so, I don't know, if you talk to us a year from now, we'll have like more clearer things, but I think that's the heart and desire.
One of the other things you always said when we started is that the church it's a garden, not a factory. She would say this all the time. And that keeping that top of mind is one of the most beautiful ways to approach ministry to me. It is a garden. These are people who are growing and changing, and so are we.